A special guest,
Yes.
Shirley, who is going to do some of her own work here. And we would have loved her here at the Elder Club, but she's just too busy to be able to join as a member, but we do definitely look forward to hearing from you.
It's my pleasure to be here. I was here once before, and I was amazed at the friendly atmosphere, and so I'm very pleased to be back.
We're glad you're here.
Yay!
Thank you. Welcome, Shirley. Welcome.
And mainly the friendships here. And so I wrote something about a friend, what a friend means.
Oh, yes.
There are people we are drawn to by mutual sympathy. Everything about them reveals their empathy. In spirit and in action, they reach out to another. They are easy to confide in, like a sister or a brother. It's so good to feel free to say what you may, knowing that the listener would never betray. These people are our friends, really like rare gems. We are lucky if we find some along life's twists and bends. Now a little something about myself.
That's beautiful.
My way. Never bought the crystal, china, or the sterling silver set. No antiques of any value, waiting for my heirs to get. Someday, they'll rummage through my papers, empty out my messy drawers, come across my simple scribblings, be indulgent of their flaws, find a little bit of me there, see a little bit of them, look behind my childish phrasings, find a philosophic gem. I think they'll know what we cared for, wanted them to be prepared for. Life with meaning, life that's good, with Yiddishkeit and Menschlichkeit, living as we should.
That's really
Oh, that's
Bravo, bravo.
Of course, our first experience in life is our love for our mama and papa. My mother and father were born in Poland in 1875. They were married in 1900. My father came to America in 1904, leaving behind my mother, 2 children, and another one on the way.
wow.
My mother came here in 1906, traveling in steerage on one of the many ships with immigrants, many fleeing persecution. She was still nursing her 15-month-old son, fearing contaminated food. Her sister was also on board that ship with her baby, who was a little younger than my brother. Unfortunately, her sister got seasick and was unable to nurse her baby. Well, it was only natural that my mother take over that job.
Oh, God.
Well, that's what love can do,
Yep.
nursing 2 babies.
Wow.
And then I want to tell you something about my father, thinking about Papa. Why didn't you talk to us, Papa? Why didn't you complain and tell us tales of long ago, of life so full of pain. The years when you were very young, we know you lost your mother. When you were 9, about that time, your father took another. And was she kind to you and good and treat you like the others? For soon her hands and heart belong to sisters and to brothers. Rasha, Leah, and Rachmil, Aharon, and Matal, and you were sent apprentice then, a trade to learn, your bread to earn, with tinsmith in your shtetl. Why didn't you talk to us, Papa? Why didn't you complain? How was it when you left Mama for America, so shame, and worked so hard and did without? You must have cried and prayed. And when she wrote you had a son, what anguish mixed with joy to miss the birth, the bris, the nurse, and Weibel most of all. 2 years stretched out, together then, your family intact, to struggle and to multiply. They made up what you lacked. And I remember clearly still a sugar bowl and 1 for spoons, and best of all, a blackboard, stool, and children's dishes made of tin. You fashioned all, deft hand and tool, with loving care. No store-bought toys of our possessions could compare. And through it all, the laughs, the tears, the pipes you fixed, the roofs you climbed, while Mama worried, voiced her fears. You lived serenely, quiet, strong, with faith in God and trust in man, believing no one could do wrong. Just once, you startled with a speech. It was on that golden day, with dignity and eloquence, your words of highest praise, the Yiddish meaning so much more than faithful could convey. To your getreue Weib, you paid homage in your way. So maybe you did talk, Papa, in everything you did, and showed us how to be a mensch, for that is how you lived. Well, I mustn't neglect Mama. So this is about Mama. Her height, 4'9", 4'10" at most. Broad hips, full breasts, with the pelvis fit to bear the brood, in spite her size. The 9 she bore brought forth alive. No stranger to the care of child, firstborn of 7, old at 10. Her childhood robbed by poverty, she bore responsibility. Potatoes picked before they rot, climbed trees for nuts in nearby woods, where absent landlord oft forgot. When brothers shirked their jobs, she knew, of it get pulled an ear or two to task undone. The horse to feed, no time for fun. Her mother off to market went with horse and wagon, produce bent. With beets and carrots, turnips too, to earn some kopecks, just a few. While father, with yeshiva bocha, taught him from the Mishnah Torah. And when she wed, it was arranged. My father said that bride exchanged for younger sister. He was led to think that he would take to bed. For so he teased her many times, yet sure that he had won the prize. From Stettel to the east side slums, with 3 she came. Soon there were 6. Diphtheria then took its toll. It took at 2 her little Rose. On promise of a better life, with space to breathe, with food to eat, hard work that paid a pittance wage, while laboring for a relative, they settled in Connecticut. 3 more were born. She loved us all, but life was hard, as I recall. The household chores were meted out. The elder bore the brunt, no doubt. And I must pause to say a word of memories that cloud my mind. How Anna bought the younger clothes, and Yetta sewed and set my hair, in vain that curls might linger there. Joey ironed his shirts and Papa's. Murray emptied out the ashes. Ida, Gertie, swept the floor, washed the dishes, and much more. Then Ruthie and I were told, when we were old enough to scold, that though we be the youngest there, 'twas time that we should do our share. The piano stood in parlor, cold. 'Twas paid for by the week, I'm told. And after Yetta learned some tunes, the rest of us she taught by turns. But none of us were musical, though Mama paid $1 or $2 to many a professional. The piano seemed to symbolize some distant dream to realize. Not luxury, for none we knew. Perhaps refinement as we grew. Spartan woman though she was, she sacrificed for such a thing. It's beautiful.
Here's to your mama, Shirley.
Now, you know, at one time, if you were married to a man who was a citizen or became a citizen, the wife became a citizen also. But that law was changed, and by the time my father became a citizen, my mother didn't get any citizenship papers. And after a while, she really longed to be a citizen.
All right.
And we encouraged her. So Mama becomes a citizen. Oh, no, I was about 13 years old at this time, and you might hear my teenage voice here. Okay, Mama, it's time to go. Take off your apron. Don't be so slow. We've got to be there by 7 p.m. to register and tell them all you know, your name, your address, and why you're there. To become a citizen. Don't be so scared. So off we went, 2 blocks to the school. Mama was wavering. She lost her cool, but answered the questions, sat down in a seat just right for grade 6. And Mama Petite came home all excited, flushed by the unique educational experience, so formal, so sweet. Her first time ever to sit in a class, to listen to teacher and feel like a lass. Yet 2 evenings a week she voiced her complaints. Supper dishes not washed yet. The house is a mess. How can I leave now? She would always protest. We hustled her off, promising to do whatever was necessary to make her debut in class, where she learned to write, name, and address. Read about Washington, the Gettysburg Address. I quizzed her with questions. She answered at once, memorized it all. She was no dunce. City Hall was the venue. To pass the big test, there immigrants gathered to make their request. Mama read from a book a sentence or two, swore allegiance to flag, the red, white, and blue. I'll never forget the look on her face, the pride, the joy, the tears, just a trace.
Wow.
Oh, we're going to skip many years, and I'm going to tell you about my marriage. This is reflections on my marriage. In my youth, I thought in an idealistic way about the kind of a man I might marry someday. The key that unlocked the answer for me was dreaming about our children to be and how they would have all his milas and traits, while his wonderful character would make a great mate. Dreams do come true. You can see at a glance. I found the right man, but purely by chance. We met at the close of 43, an unlikely place for us to be. A dance arranged by the USO for servicemen with no place to go. He walked me home, said goodnight in the hall. I didn't think that he would call. Our courtship was a formal one for those times, a normal one, accelerated by a war, not knowing just what lay in store. His orders came, the news you dread, 2 months after we were wed. He was at sea by our first year, assuring me there's naught to fear, and snuggled safe within my womb, an addition to the baby boom. We wrote letters daily. Sometimes weeks passed without receiving any mail, or I would get 3 or 4 at one time. This is a little poem I wrote in one of my letters to my husband overseas. War bride, you accuse me of being poetic. Of that, I quite disagree. But there's one little verse I would like to write, and that's about you and me. Darling, when I am out walking and there's sunshine and calm in the air, I want to hold on to that moment and feel that you share it elsewhere. For the warmth of the sun, like my message of love, can surely travel so far as to reach you, my darling, and with magic charms protect you and keep you from harm. Now, I must say a little prayer of thanks for happiness to spare. The war was over, my dearest home, to await the birth of our precious son. And this is about my husband at 77, so I'm sure you are almost that age, and you might appreciate this a little bit.
Thanks a lot, Shirley.
My husband at 77. His profession by chance is healing the sick, dispensing advice and medicinal tricks. Their problems and fears are just for his ears. He sets their minds easy, quelling their tears, reassuring his manner, professional his tone, respected by all, ethical to the bone. He's spry and quick when there's something to fix, to tinker, to fuss with nail, bolt, and such. Arthritic fingers, but cunning and firm. No intricate task too hard to learn. Stairs are no problem while rushing about, pleasing his wife with pampering, no doubt. He's quiet, with silence, a natural trait, relaxed and content to contemplate, yet always there to listen with grace and share the burdens and troubles we face. A heart deeply hidden from casual crowd. And there's more about him too, if I can reach it. Here we are. Yes, he's compassionate, tender, family man all round. I climb into bed and find his arms there, enfolding me sweetly with love that we share. His body still strong, evoking my wonder. So gentle he is. He is my dear lover and father and grandpa, adoring, adored. May he live in good health to 100 and more.
Oh.
Well, he made it to 96, and I'm very grateful.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. I'll skip that one. Now we come to the part where we enjoy our grandchildren. And if any of you have grandchildren, you know the special thrill of that first grandchild. And Asher was our first, and we lived in Connecticut, and he lived in California, so we didn't get to see him till he was 3 months old. But I start this, Asher is 5. Sakes alive, Asher is 5. Asher is 5. Seems like yesterday we got the news. We had a grandson we couldn't refuse. We visited him at 3 months just and found a wee babe, all sweet and hushed. We woke him up and gave him a kiss. He smiled and wriggled. Yes, he liked us. And when he was 1, oh, did we have fun. A Seder, a party with presents galore, almost as though he could open a store. And then he was walking and talking so well, thought he'd never finish the stories he'd tell. He played with blocks and puzzle games he could make in a wink without their frames. And when he was 2, what a to-do, because he was bored with all his toys and knew he mustn't make a noise. So he sat down at the computer with the very best of tutors, who just happened to be his own daddy, you see. They sat there all day, and the next day too, and that is why there was such a to-do. And so it went on through the years, like with lots of fun, and sometimes tears, like when he had to wash his hair and in his eyes some soap got there. But now that he is swimming too, he doesn't make a big boo-hoo when down his face the water trickles. He'll say, "Oh, Mommy, that just tickles." As birthdays passed, like 3 and 4, some changes came, so many more. A big new house to romp and play in, a sister, Liara, so sweet and cuddling, till finally we reach this day when Asher can read this and say, "Today I am 5, Sakes alive! Sakes alive!
How old is he now?
Oh, he's in his 30s and he has a baby of his own, a little boy. A little boy that was named after my husband. Yes. No, I'm very proud of him and his family.
Sure.
That's another thing I'm very proud of, and I hope you all are too. It's our land, Yisrael, Israel. When we were young, we dared to dream that distant land could be redeemed. Our hopes were nourished, watered by tears, for millions who perished, our brothers, our peers. The Yishuv, the leaders, knew what must be spent. Their life's blood to create that blessed event. And so it was born, our state, Yisrael. We were proud parents, ready to quell. From Baghdad, Morocco, Ethiopia too, they fled and were welcomed, our remnants, our Jews. The Russian Olim, though religion forgot, return to their roots, their brethren, their lot. We all are her children, finding our strength, our source, and our being, supporting that state. Stand up for her now. Show them we care, our pride, and our future as Jews, indivisible and shared. Thank you. My eyes tear because they're so bad, but because I get emotional also. It's still close to my heart. And I'm going to close with this. I just wrote it recently for the latest edition in our family of a great-granddaughter and a great-grandson. Musings of a great-grandmother. How to transmit the legacy of our folklore, buried in the ghettos and shtetls of Europe. There, life was a struggle just to survive, yet pulsing with questions forever revived. Who am I? Why am I here? What do I believe? Just a few to perplex, with answers elusive. Leaving the ghettos, they followed a dream, gradually melding into the mainstream. Their questions the same, the answers inconclusive. So much to know, to think about. Though Mars beckons to explore, may we strive for a better world, a civilization without war. Thank you for that. You are so gifted.
I don't know.
Affected.
No,
Beautiful.
thank you.
Shirley? Shirley? Oh, I'll let you finish your thing. How many years were you married?
How many years? I think it was 57,
Very nice.
something like that. I've forgotten already. So long ago.
About almost
63.
a little less than
Was it 63?
A little less than 60.
We were married about 63
No, my
years,
father died in 2000.
which was a miracle because my husband was 9 years older than me, but he lived to
He
be
was 59.
in his 96, so I was very lucky all around. Wonderful family. I've been blessed.